talking about Finding Nemo and Marlin's diagnosis, along with his critical analysis and treatment. Begin with Finding Nemo, which we won't be talking much about Nemo. We'll be talking mostly about Marlin. So, the bluefish is named Dory, who is one of the main characters, and then Nemo, his son, which has one bad fin, and then Marlin, our main character that we will be talking about. Finding Nemo. So, to the beginning of the movie, Marlin and his wife have children, and they are happily married until a barracuda in and eats all of their kids and kills his wife. And with that gives Marlin a deep trauma and PTSD, which I believe is PTSD from it with all the signs he shows. And the only egg that was left was Nemo, but it was broken. That's why he has a broken fin. And as you can see in the picture, he is sad, very sad, because he only has one of his eggs, which he had a million others, and a wife. And traumatic, definitely. Many years later, Nemo grows up, and Nemo is starting to want to go to school, to fish school. Who the leader of it, or teacher of it, is the teacher of it is a stingray. And Marlin isn't so happy about this because he is very protective of Nemo and wants him to feel very safe and wants to keep an eye on him all the time. But for him to go to school, he cannot keep an eye on him all the time. So with this, the stingray picks him up and takes him there. Marlin starts panicking, obviously, and they leave. And then Marlin's like, please be careful, please, because he's very protective again over Nemo. And then, bye Dad, and then he's gonna go pick him up later. Where his friend that he meets at the school, all of his friends, they all talk about touching the butt, which is basically the bottom part of a boat that is always out in the distance, and no one's been able to get the guts to touch it. And it's in where there's a trench, so there's nothing on above it, so they would have to swim out and get to it. So she's like, touch it, and like, I dare you. And he says, okay. And he goes and does it and starts swimming out when Marlin comes and says, do not touch it. And Nemo obviously touches it, and then consequences occur, and Nemo gets swooped up by a scuba diver. And then Marlin starts going frantic and tries to get him, but then the boat just goes away. Next, Nemo runs into Dory, which Dory has short-term memory loss, so whenever Marlin tries to ask her where Nemo is, it just keeps on going around and around because she's like, hey, I know this, I know that. And so they keep going in circles, and this obviously frustrates Marlin, so he acts out erratically. Through on that point, they meet many other fish, birds, where they're just trying to find Nemo. They meet a shark, and as they meet those sharks, Dory gets a bloody nose, so that occurs a problem between one of the sharks who are in a group that are like, we don't eat fish, other fish. But one of them smells it and then starts running out of there, and they try to get out of there. And they find the scuba mask to where Nemo is, and they lose it. But Dory actually remembers what it says, which it says P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, which is in Australia, so they're located in Australia. And with that, they go and trying try and find Nemo through many other sources. Again, while they are doing all that, Nemo is trying to get out of there, and he meets all the fish that are in the tank, which he is in a tank at a dentist office, and he tries, they do a whole ceremony to invite him into the group, and he tries to go up to clog the tank so that they can wash it, and then he can jump out into the water because they're just right there, and when he's in a bag to be given to the dentist's daughter, which always kills fish, so they are more likely to do it because they have that drive. So that happens. Nemo escapes, and then they are all reunited into the water, and even the other fish escape as well, and then they are happily together again. Next, we are going to be doing a critical analysis. So I believe that Marlin has has anxiety and depression along with PTSD. I also believe that he has OCD and maladaptive danger schema. The behaviors that I see is all of the ones that I just mentioned, and he has repetitive thoughts and actions. He has a lot of repetitive thoughts and actions that are not good for him, like going out on his own, trying to find Nemo, or getting angry at several fish because he is scared. In the movie, Marlin gets angry with Dory and leaves her to try and find him on Nemo on his own, but that obviously doesn't work out because he is too angry and too frustrated, so he relinks with Dory to find Nemo. With this, he also gets angry at fish that are trying to help him. Like, there was this big group of fish, and he got angry with them because he just wasn't helping. He thought they weren't helping with anything, so they didn't really help him, but they helped Dory. He also has sad facial expressions in the movie because he really wants to find Nemo, and throughout the movie there are moments when you see those facial expressions on him because he gives up hope many times from disappointment, grief, and losing it. He has urges, he has sporadic urges that just go off and find Nemo on his own, leading him into spirals and into sadness. And with OCD, he isolates himself when he is feeling down. Isolating himself could lead to more depression, which leads him into a downfall of spiraling out, which leads to less time in finding Nemo. Actually, it will take him longer to find Nemo. Marlin isolates himself from Dory and others when he is feeling lost or feels out of control, and that he can just not control the situation, which he definitely couldn't when Nemo went out on his own, or when he's dealing with others' emotions. He has angry outbursts. He has multiple angry outbursts at Dory when he forgets or one simple thing goes wrong. Grieving. And when Dory forgets, he gets super angry because he just, again, wants to find Nemo and believes she can remember everything that he can't, or when she repeats her words. Grieving. Marlin says he's grieving. Marlin never says he's grieving his wife and children, but you can see in the movie his reactions to his son leaving his side as a way to see the sadness and overprotection in him from that loss. And obviously he's going to miss his family, and reactions from that are not going to be the best. He is very distrustful. He does not trust Dory at first, or any of the friends that Dory introduces him to, because he feels like he's going to be disappointed with that trust he gives to others. Now, the diagnosis. Based above on the behaviors, Marlon expresses anxiety throughout the movie. Marlon shows a lot of anger and a lot of fast breathing, which are both signs of anxiety. So he does fast breathing, and anger is a very big part of who he is. Based on the above behaviors, again, Marlon also expresses depression throughout the movie. He shows depression along with grief for his loved ones that passed from a barracuda eating them. Marlon has frequent mood changes in the movie. For example, he has a very quick temper with Dory, which makes him lose sight of what he really wants. Based on the above behaviors, Marlon also expresses OCD throughout the movie, and common signs of OCD in Marlon are reoccurring thoughts, urges, images, and doubts that he puts on himself. He expresses this throughout the movie in multiple different scenes. Based on the above behaviors, Marlon expresses PTSD throughout the movie and a traumatic event that he dealt with in a difficult memory, and he has a difficult time processing and focusing on the problem and solving it in a sufficient way. I also believe he expresses maladaptive danger schema throughout the movie. In the movie, Marlon expresses anger, emotional exhaustion, and paranoid ideations, which are symptoms of that. And I feel like he gives off those symptoms in not the best way. Development of these disorders, these all express of his behavior with the way Marlon thinks, feels, and acts on the situation. Marlon's wife and kids being killed, Nemo going off to school, scuba diver taking Nemo away and searching for Nemo. All of those events are very big and life-changing and lead to events to where he has those reactions and where his disorders come out to play. And here is my perspective. Based on Marlon's behaviors and mental disorders, the perspective that explains Marlon's behaviors is biophysiological perspective. The biological side is Marlon's physiological reactions to his son going missing and his PTSD from his wife and kids being killed by a barracuda, which led him to have a rough mindset. His psychological part, Marlon's mental health and expectations and finding his son and expectations that he will protect his son at all costs, which that's just not gonna happen, especially when he saw Nemo going to school and him agreeing to do something dangerous that Marlon could not protect him from. Marlon thinks he will find Nemo on his own because he feels as if no one could help him, but he soon figures out that he needs help from others, and he sees all the help that people have given him has given him a big impact of finding Nemo. The social part is Marlon's interpersonal relationships show how his side to quick anger and how he isolates himself when things are going wrong. This part of him shows all of his disorders and the way he puts himself out there to others. He seems afraid of others because of his PTSD from past traumas, like what I said before, his wife and kids being killed and all that. Some treatment ideas, some treatment for anxiety for Marlon would be yoga and focusing directly on Marlon's symptoms and just focusing on him and only him. In yoga, I feel like he could close his mindset and focus in on calming his nerves and calming his heart and soul. Another treatment option would be put Marlon on MDMA. This is a drug that eases PTSD symptoms. MDMA is formed with psychotherapy, and it can significantly relieve patients of PTSD. It's believed that the drug could be a big change in therapeutic approaches, and first it was used in Australia, which that's where they are, so perfect. And it shows big signs of it working, and that many people have found themselves not in the required meet for the PTSD diagnosis anymore, which is great. And that this drug is very effective with helping with PTSD. And that is it. That is my critical analysis on Finding Nemo and on Marlin. And thank you.